How y'all doing, everybody? This is Ray of RebelEars.com with another episode of the Rebel Ears podcast. Today, we got a special guest, BKG Tony P, man. How you doing today?
What's happening, man? What's happening? How you doing?
Man, I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. First off, I want to tell you thank you for, allowing me to have a moment of your time so we can, have a little chat, man.
No problem, no problem. I appreciate you even valuing my time. You know what I mean? It's a two-way street, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so right before we started the podcast, we had a little discussion because, of course, one thing I do during Takeoff ATL, I like to look at Instagram stories of who's sharing, who posting, and a few things that caught my attention when I saw your IG story was engaging, networking from Treehouse, and then also you represent Crown Me too, man.
Yes, sir. That's part of the reason why I started following you and started paying attention to everything you had going on because I recently did an interview with Fresh and I told him he's created like a secret society
Oh
with
yeah.
anybody who got them Crown Me hats on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like an automatic brotherhood. When I started watching you and I seen a different crown every episode, I was like, oh yeah, I got to tap in.
Hey man, appreciate it. Yeah, like Fresh, he's good people. Shout out to Fresh, man, King Fresh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so as an artist, engineer, all the above, man, how do you wear those multiple hats? Because of course I talk to a lot of artists and some of them are engineers, some of them are not. But do you mix your own sessions or do you have an engineer come in and do it?
I know I do everything from the rooter to the tutor. So the way I balance in between is I simply just follow my intuition and I follow what my body is telling me. So,
Yeah,
for instance, if I have writer's block as an artist, that means it's time to transition into making beats.
yeah.
If I got beat block as a producer, that means it's time to transition back into writing verses as an artist. And then typically as an engineer, once you get your template set, it's pretty much just record and go from there.
Yeah, so you already got your own template. So let me ask you this. Do you have like your own specific vocal chain when you getting ready for a session?
Yes, I use my own tailor-made vocal chain. Just because I feel like you can go out and buy a template, but I think that's cheating. If
Yeah.
you pride yourself on being a producer and an audio engineer, I understand you want to get the best sound possible,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's part of the passion and that 10,000 hours with learning how to make your sound the best sound.
Oh yeah, I agree on that. So let me ask you, what does your vocal chain incorporate? Is it like a specific mic or a specific compressor and EQ that you use?
Well, I purchased the Waves bundle. All of
Ah,
my engineers will be pretty familiar with what the Waves bundle is.
oh yeah.
So I got the Waves bundle, and then I got a couple of AI plugins as far as background noise reduction and clarity. So for the most part, I like to go with a more natural sounding vocal chain to make it sound like you right in the room with me. I'm not necessarily looking for the most pristine, crispy audio, but I want to give you an authentic experience by making it sound like you're right there in the studio with me.
Okay, so you said AI. I like that discussion because we're in the era of artificial intelligence. A lot of people are 50-50 on it. I'm all the way in when it comes to AI because it made like the workflow simple. I use Chat GPT on a lot of things. And then when you was talking
Right.
about clearing background vocals, so what's the AI that you use when it comes to the background vocals?
It's a plugin by Nexus called Clarity, and
Yeah.
basically what it does is because I did not kill the sound in this room, I'm only relying on the chaotic eyeball.
Ah,
So I
yeah.
use the AI vocal enhancer in the background just to make sure all of the background noise is alleviated, and you get nothing but the vocal.
Yeah. Now the chaotic eyeball, my business partner, when he's like traveling to different sessions, especially when he's doing in-house session, he talk about like it is so convenient when he's traveling, man. I need to invest in that too.
Yeah, because what it does is, when you would take all the isolation sound padding and put it all over the walls,
Yeah.
instead, they just wrapped it around the microphone so you don't have to necessarily kill the room, but the mic is only picking up what it's supposed to pick up.
Yeah. So you produce, you engineer, and you're an artist yourself. And I know when it comes to wearing all those hats, what do you do when you feel like you get in? I wouldn't say writer's block, but for the moment you might need to like, you know what, let me take a break. What do you do normally to get back into the creative zone?
Well, typically I just like I said, I just follow the flow. If I got writer's block, then we finna make some beats. If I got beat block, then we finna write verses. But
Mm,
then at the same time, I think the most important thing for most artists, if you don't already know, is just don't force it.
yeah,
It's okay, like if you're writing and you're killing it, but then you just literally run out of ideas, you're gonna hate those last two bars that you wrote because you forced it. So
yeah,
if you only get 12 bars into a 16 or 8 bars into a 12, but it's solid and you blocked up, it's okay to just back up and go on about the rest of your day and approach it at another time. You know what I mean? You don't got to
yeah,
always finish all your food in one sitting.
yeah. I agree on that. So you implemented to a point like, okay, right now I'm not wearing the artist hat because I feel I wouldn't say burnout, but let me do a little dabbling into producing. So production wise, what do you use? Do you use like Logic Pro X or Fruity Loops?
Well, production wise, I have experience using all of the major DAWs,
Yeah.
but I prefer Fruity Loops.
Oh, Fruity Loops.
Like
Yeah.
I know a lot of niggas be or a lot of cats be clowning Fruity Loops from time to time as a DAW, but I would say I'm about 65% knowledgeable out of the 100% of the things that Fruity Loops can do.
Yeah.
And it's a revolutionary DAW. Like the more
Yeah.
you learn about it, the more you realize this and Pro Tools is all I need.
Yeah. And then the main two DAWs that I normally hear when it comes to production is either Fruity Loops and Logic Pro X. I'm I'm I-
Right.
I'm a fan of Logic Pro X just because I had the Mac for since I went to school for audio engineering, and that was the first, well, the second DAW. First was Pro Tools and then Logic Pro X. But yeah, man, I have a lot of friends who use Fruity Loops, and there's a lot of hits on the boards right now from Fruity Loops. So I don't know who's talking about like Fruity Loop is not like on point.
Well, I've heard little things like I've seen Timberland say that he doesn't really take some of the dolls seriously, and he went through categorizing each doll from top to bottom. And he didn't really have a lot of good things to say about Fruity Loops, but it is what it is because it's one of those things where if you don't know how to use it, it's going to be confusing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree on that because even in Fruity Loops, I'm trying to remember. It's like this one specific plugin, Gross Beat. I heard of,
Yes,
yeah, Gross Beat is on another level because you ever heard of Effectrix?
yes,
It's kind of like Effectrix, but Gross Beat, man, that's like a gem in itself.
right. Now, Grossbeat was like, I was like a kid on Christmas morning when they first came out with the upgrade that had Grossbeat in it.
Yeah,
And then I was able to toggle through the settings, and like I feel like a lot of these producer apps that they got now, like with the serums and the spawns and all of these
I,
off-brand apps, not necessarily off-brand, but I think Grossbeat was like their dad. You know what I'm saying? Now
yeah,
you can tweak a MIDI file, you can change the speed, reduce the speed, change the pattern, arpeggiate it. I feel like all of that came from Grossbeat.
yeah. Just even talking about it, you just remind me like Omnisphere.
Fact. I do use Omnisphere too. That's
Yeah,
my shit. That's my go-to.
yeah. Even for those who know, of course, a lot of people know Metro Boomin. He talks highly of Omnisphere, especially in his past interviews. So what's like your go to? What's your go to now?
My go-to right now would still be Omnisphere, with a little bit of Splice. I ain't gonna cap you down. Like a lot of dudes be
Yeah,
hating on the Splice, but to me, it's like you can't copyright a drum pattern.
yeah,
And if I took 2 hours to make this beautiful melody,
yeah,
and I want to cut a corner by just going to get a drum pattern, like I don't see nothing wrong with that,
yeah.
especially if it slaps.
And that's the thing. A lot of people don't even realize that there's a book called Still Like an Artist, where all these, like even Pablo Picasso, Mark Twain was talking about they inspired by the past. So all these
Right.
talks about, of course, there's legal issues when you copyright, you use the wrong song, the wrong part of a song. But I feel like if it's creative and natural and you're just not taking the whole track, I feel like you just implementing your own sauce in it. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Facts. But I also feel like there's a way to tastefully replay or sample records,
Yeah,
as to where like once you go present it for clearance, you want to make sure the OGs that created it first enjoy the record as well.
true.
So I would imagine if I was to sample some Isley Brothers and then drop some Pussy Hole Pink, Booty Hole Brown on it, they might be a little bit slower to clear it than
Yeah,
maybe a song like Kendrick's "I Love Myself." You understand what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, I agree on that. It's the message that comes across.
Right.
So let's talk about your projects because one thing I like to do, like I was saying, I saw you on Instagram stories and I went straight to your links and I see the essence of Tony P and Long Asu Winning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let's talk about those two projects for a second. Wait, hold on. Atlanta Boyd and Raised, I Am an Outcast Baby, self produced, self recorded.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's go ahead to the essence of Tony P, man.
Okay, so the essence of Tony P is my most recent album.
Yeah,
The singles that I perform at Takeoff and Vital Movement and everywhere right now,
yeah,
they come from that project. Basically, the essence of Tony P was a manifestation of my mother. I was waking baking in the garage one day. She came out and spoke to me and said, "I had a dream, and in this dream, you were famous. It wasn't need to be said, but she could tell I was famous."
yeah,
And she was like, "You had just got back off the road from promoting an album called The Essence of Tony P." And at the time, that album didn't exist. So I took it as a manifestation straight from God. And I,
yeah.
I got immediately went right to work, made all the beats, wrote all the songs, and then the album was produced. You know what I mean?
So it's 100% yours.
100% mine. There's only one song on The Essence of Tony P that I did not produce, and that's LPS, which is the single that
Yep.
was produced by TZ Fontaine.
TZ5, he sound familiar.
Yes, sir. I don't know if you're familiar with We Stank or Willie Hen, the Rose Bowl. TZ Fontaine just performed at the Rose Bowl with Willie Hen.
Oh man.
I mean, my guy, he got the On the Radar, We Found, freestyles. He all over the place with it
Oh,
right now.
he out there.
Yes, Sirski.
Yeah, so why are we talking about 100%? Because being a creative, being a musician, it's hard to really get all into it without having help. And you was actually able to create, let's say 90-95% of the whole project is yours, except like 5-10% of it, right?
Right.
When it came down the lines to EMI, ASCAP, the paperwork, what was your thought when it came to you thinking like, you know what? In the end, I own all of it. This is all mine.
Well, I actually have like a big Meech BMF philosophy when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
I want to teach all my artists how to have their own publishing companies. I want to
Mm.
teach them how to regulate their own split sheets and to be able to track and follow whatever it is that they're earning.
Yeah.
So when I cook up 100% of a project and I go and buy stuff like this, it's to show my guys like this is show money. These are concerts that I've thrown myself, tickets that I've sold myself for shows that I've headlined. So I'm
Oh.
just laying a blueprint and an example that if you do it and do it right,
Yeah.
it can be done. It's not as hard as they making it seem.
Yeah, it's putting the work in. And then you talking about show money. There's a lot of people who don't talk about show money. Now, you was talking about you built your own event from the ground up. What how
Yeah.
how did that happen? Because I hear people talk about it, but really can't explain like, you know what, I did my own show, I did everything, I was hands on.
Well, really, it happens as a result of the effectiveness of your networking. So
Yeah,
I've been rapping for about 22 to 23 years.
yeah,
In that 23-year time period, I've probably met about 5 to 6,000 people that are serious about this craft.
yeah.
Like I know, when you go around and you real about this, the ones who love it, they'll start feeding you. They'll give you tidbits, they'll give you plugins, they'll give you recommendations,
Oh
they'll
yeah.
tell you where to go. You know what I'm saying? So me being able to start my own event came from 22 years of networking. It
Mm,
took me 22 years to be able to say, "Hey, I'm having a concert," and sell 200 tickets to that concert.
man. That that's big because just just the blueprint following because you said 20 years of networking, 20 years of producing, recording, performing, like people who, well, from what you're saying, you got a good face card because the only way you was able to do all that is to of course, anybody can network, but you might meet a person and they like, you know what? I would network with him. He's dope at production, but I don't know, his energy or how he come across as a little cocky. So how do you stay solid with the people that you still network with?
You got to be in cahoots with people that are like minded.
Yeah,
So I try not to be around people when they describe me is not greatness.
yeah,
When you look at me, I need you to see greatness. When I look at you, I see greatness. And what happens is because we have that relationship, you now feel self-imposed pressure to be whoever it is I thought you were.
yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? And vice versa. And if we basing that off of positivity, integrity, and loyalty, then what happens is I don't see your admiration as hate. I see it as an opportunity to better myself.
yeah,
And then when you end up in a tribe that's about 10 to 15 people deep and we're all fans of each other, we all just like hanging out with each other,
yeah.
it turns into this big momentum, ball of momentum that just can't be quantified, bro. I promise you.
Okay. Yeah, I like to hear that, man. I like talks about community because you can't do everything yourself. Even like you were
No, you
saying,
can't.
even like you were saying, you wear all these hats, but you don't do it just yourself. I guess you say you got some artists under you. You got artists under you
Yes, sir. Well, I got about 10 guys that's rapping on my label right now.
and a label. Okay, so I'm learning new facts, man. So let me
And
know
we
about.
got the merch.
Man, you got physical and digital, man. You not. So let me
I
let
learned
me
from, I learned from King Fresh. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the best to do it. And once I met Fresh back
yeah
in like 2020, I just knew I was like, okay, I need to get with him.
yeah
And then it's okay, like if you admire somebody to study them and to kind of mimic their movements, especially if you find that it's working out for you as well.
yeah
So I'm not saying that I just like took Fresh's game plan, but when I met Fresh, I had a clothing line, but I didn't have one piece of merch yet. I
yeah.
had music, but I hadn't had no albums out yet. So when I met Fresh, he was like minded, working on his stuff, and it was more of an inspiration, I guess. Like
Yeah,
that's why I say you got to hang around people that see greatness in you as well.
who's open to network too? Because one thing about
Right.
King Fresh, man, he's always open to like, yeah, man, yeah, we could chop it up. We could talk for a second. He is not a gatekeeper, and I feel like some people feel they're um at a peak to the point like I can't just give it out because then what I'm gonna do? You can grow with whoever you network with. And that's why I believe Takeoff ATL, King Fresh, Crown Me is just successful where it's at because of the growth in the community itself.
And ain't nobody hating. Like
Yeah,
Takeoff is one of the few places where you are encouraged to be who you are, and the more authentic you present yourself, the more welcoming the crowd is. It's crazy. So let me tell you this: Fresh's environment was so dope to me
yeah.
that now my concert series is being hosted out of Treehouse. Like
I
I
saw
shut
it
down
too.
all other operations, and we do all our concerts at Treehouse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I saw behind the scene. I'm trying to think if it was either Fresh or Wavy. They was in the back room and you was doing an interview with somebody. Y'all had like artists in the corner. Fresh was back there, and then I
Yep.
saw. I think I saw Clay James and Alex Ransom too.
Yeah. Shout out to Clay James, man. One time,
Yeah.
hold on, while we on here, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my boy Clay.
Ah man,
You know
keep
what
it
I'm saying?
P. Yeah, man.
So,
Like yeah,
like I said, it's all about networking and it's all about getting with like-minded people. So me messing with Fresh is how I ended up linking with Clay and Alex Ransom. Then I found out later that me and Alex Ransom and all of her homegirls, we all went to school together.
ah man,
So
small
it's just like
circle.
it's a small world, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, and then you even got the merchandise too. So that shows the growth in the community. That shows you mess with them for the fact that you bought the merchandise and then even finding out from having conversations with Alex and her friends, man. You got to make sure that you have a good face card because you never know who you're going to be networking with.
And that's another thing I like to tell artists because I think we all have this fairy tale, imaginary, made up look of what the industry is,
Yeah.
and it's not what you think it is. You and I right now linking up because we both know Fresh. That's the industry.
Yeah.
Them cats that be at the spot every week when you trying to go perform, those cats are the industry.
Yep.
Any one of these cats in this class of guys that I rap with could blow up, and next thing you know, we're all being bum rushed through the door. The industry is wherever you're at, whatever your network and whatever you're selling. If you're doing it amongst other professionals, you are in the industry. Stop looking for the Diddy parties. Stop looking for the bright lights. It's not none of that. It's getting outside, and every time you sign up for a takeoff or every time you sign up for the vital movement,
Yeah.
it's the same 25 artists in the room. That's the industry.
I agree. And then I even noticed because while you wearing that hat, it reminded me. I just saw a post. I think it was yesterday that Clay James and his team are inviting artists to South by Southwest. Just seeing that inspires me because you giving people an opportunity.
And that's dope because, like I said, I've been rapping for 22 years. Two of the biggest things that I've ever wanted to do as a rapper, one was Bonfire ATL, which
Ah,
I've done 6 times thanks to Fresh.
yeah.
And the other one is South by Southwest, which I'm currently in talks with buying my slot so I can roll out with Clay James and the Players Club Music Group and go
Mm,
South by Southwest with them. You know what I mean? It's all
yeah.
about networking.
That's it. And then I think I probably seen you perform at Bonfire. I've been to a lot of events there, man. I wouldn't be
So
surprised.
collectively, my label, we go by the collective. Collectively, all of my artists have done Bonfire about 9 times
Ooh,
in one year.
yeah. And there's a
You know what I
lot of
mean?
people
And
who
you
go to
know how hard it
Bonfire.
is to get on that bonfire stage. So that tells you what kind of movement we really doing. You know what I'm saying?
You literally got to know somebody. You can't just sign up to perform. You can't.
Nah, nah, nah. And so through Fresh, I was able to be cool with Rockland One.
Yeah,
I was able to be cool with AD. I was able to be cool with Terry Skywalker. I mean, just being a real homie to just somebody else who was King Fresh, but he could have been anybody.
yeah,
But just me being real and being, transparent about what I want and speaking it into existence, your network brings it forward for you. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah. You got to speak it to existence. Even me. I even told myself. I ain't gonna lie because I got my haircut. I got my son's haircut. I just dropped him off to my mom because they was gonna watch him overnight, and I was just thinking, okay, this gonna be a great interview. Even though I have like within 10 minutes to set it all up because as soon as I sent you the link, we was already going.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And that's crazy, but I knew you was like minded.
yeah,
Even though we haven't met in person, like I feel a strong connection with you online, which is why immediately after I noticed the crowns, I started paying attention to you.
yeah.
And then I followed you, you followed me, and then here we are. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? Like it's the beauty of it all.
Oh yeah, even you wearing the P hat, man. That shows love because as soon as they see this interview, they be like, oh man, they don't even have to hear the audio. They just got to see the merchandise, and they like, oh yeah, they know the right people.
Facts, facts, facts. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. But I also was able to dib and dab in content creation for the last couple years.
Okay.
And I do want to tell artists, as much as you don't want to do it, you're gonna have to do it. If
Yeah.
you only make good music, that means you only make good music. Being a fan of someone is completely different than being a fan of their music. So
That's true.
artists, no matter how cringe you feel, no matter how much you feel like you're doing too much, figure out what kind of content you can create and start posting it, regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So since we talking about posting, do you use a scheduling app?
No, I do not use a scheduling app, but I do schedule my time if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, instead of trying to film something every day, we might link up for 5 hours on a Sunday, do wardrobe changes, run through a bunch of ideas, and now we got about 2 weeks worth of skits and online content to drop. You know what I mean?
yeah. So you're doing bulk content.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because my schedule's so busy that I don't really have nothing but one day a week to set aside for filming. So we got to
Yeah.
knock out everything that day.
Yeah, even right after this interview at 9 o'clock, I'm gonna be going live on YouTube, showing people like how to mix on Luna and the consistency, and then having the content. Because even the interview we have right now, I'm gonna put this out probably um, in 2 weeks. But even after this interview, I'm gonna be scheduling not just who knows, I might have a few of your artists come up here. And, we can have a little chit chat, man.
Hey, really, I'm with whatever, and I'm also about bosses building bosses.
Yeah.
So whatever you need, however I can help, however I can facilitate, please just know I am more than happy to do so. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, the only thing I gotta just say is, man, keep doing what you're doing because you inspire
Yeah.
me too.
Yes, sir. Just know it's a two-way street, man. The
Yeah.
feeling is definitely mutual.
Yeah. So a few things before we get off because I do want to talk more on what actually started you to put your focus on being an artist and then just having all these hats.
Okay, so in the beginning, when you're a kid, you just want to do what's cool. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I was been a big fan of music my whole life, but I thought the rappers was the coolest niggas ever. So I just had to figure out how to become a rapper myself. Um, and it just so happened it came down to one day at the lunch table, everybody was sitting around freestyling. I'm in eighth grade. I never freestyled publicly in my life, but
Yeah.
I would do it all the time at home. So anyway, guy beating on the table. The guy who's rapping started roasting me. I hadn't even said anything. It was just like I caught his attention. I got roasted,
Yeah.
and so they was like, "I know you're not gonna let him do that to you." And so I had to like rebuttal on the spot. I can't even remember what I said, but whatever I said, I killed it. And so that is what fed my hunger to be a rapper.
Yeah.
Now in 2025, I feel like the biggest problem with hip hop is the fact that we don't own any of it and we don't control any of it. And a lot of the newer rappers that are coming out now don't necessarily want to be rappers. They just want to get that bag and move on to whatever else is going to keep them paid. I, on the other hand, am only here to be your favorite rapper. I don't really care about all that other stuff. I'm just here to prove that I can out rap everybody. And the only reason why I keep rapping is because it's therapeutic. I'm not doing it for y'all. I'm not doing it for y'all. I'm doing it for me for those moments where I don't have anyone to go and talk to myself, which is why I don't never stop.
Yeah. That is a gem right there, man. Because even when you saying all these artists are just trying to get a bag, not even focus on outside of music, because even when we was talking about Clay James, I was just thinking about King Elway because he has his Too Soulful bundle. I saw his
Yeah.
merchandise, and I'm just thinking, man, these are some creative individuals because I'm thinking like, okay, they're posting they're in the studio, they're posting their most merchandise, they're posting they're about to perform here, they posting their community, and that's the way you build, and that's how people be looking up like, oh man, I got to follow them. They got some stuff. They're not just artists. They actually a movement.
Right. And see, these days, it's not about doing it big, it's just about doing it.
Yeah.
So, like, if you take like what I decided to do for my content creation was I decided to bring a camera with me along my weekly itinerary. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Mondays I was hitting Making It Mag as an artist. Tuesdays I was hitting Takeoff as an artist. Wednesdays I was hitting the Vital Movement as an artist, and Thursdays I would go to Crew Midtown and out there with Carrie Q as an artist. So I'm like, okay, well, all of these spots to me are popping. So if I
Yeah.
bring a camera with me to the spots that are popping and then I post it online, it looks like I'm popping. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? So people just got to get over that. Like, if your homie got a spot, go party at your homie spot. Take all the social media posts you can at your homie spot, because what's going to happen is everybody at your homie spot is going to know your music.
That's
But when
true.
you try to go down to Believe Hall and impress the big wigs on the first time, nobody there knows you. You keep killing that hole in the wall, because one day somebody's gonna come in there and everybody from the security guard at the door to the DJ in the booth is gonna be singing your song. And that person who's spectating is gonna now believe that your song is bigger than life because they're the only person in the building that doesn't know it.
Yeah, man. Hey, you gotta start from the ground up, but even from the ground up, you got your people with you, your small circle, and y'all all work together. That's the thing. The last thing I do want to say is if you are an artist or a producer or an engineer and you live in the Atlanta area, you got to come to Take Off ATL on Tuesday, 8 to
Please, Ray, say it one more time. Ray, say it one more time.
down East Atlanta Village, down Dress,
485 flat shows out.
485 Flat Shows Ave. Take Off ATL every Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Artists can perform. Like, you gotta follow King Fresh. You just gotta go on Instagram, type in East EAV Treehouse, or Takeoff ATL, and you see all the information there. There's a website for artists to sign up to perform. There's a network of artists, producers, engineers, stage managers, clothing brands. It's all there for those who don't even know where to start. We just told you where to go. We even gave you the address.
Facts. And I want to shout out to Fresh because I know he went through the ringer as
Yeah,
far as being a black owner in a predominantly white area and
yeah.
trying to continue to provide somewhere for us as artists to be able to go to. So I want to shout out Fresh. I also want to commend him for his healthy selections at the menu
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as the juices and the salad bowls and all of that is concerned. Like my boy is really trying to get our vibe a little bit higher than what it already is, and I just appreciate him for that.
Yeah, man. Shout out to King Fresh, man. Hey, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. You got me looking spiffy right now. Uh-oh. Well, you better.
Look, I
Ooh.
just one more, just in case.
Ah,
If y'all don't know King Fresh,
I
you
got to
need
get
to
that
get to
one.
know King Fresh.
Yeah, man. But again, man, I just want to tell you, thank you for your time, man. This was dope, man. We got some gems in here. We talk about the community, some good plugins, being a jack of all trade, and then owning 100% of all that you do, man. I just want to tell you, thank you for your time, man.
Hey Ray, I appreciate you too. And also, just for you, we got some collective content merch that just came in. So next time I see you, when the next takeoff happens, I'm gonna be there. Hopefully we run into each other. I'm gonna have one just for you, my brother.
Oh man, hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you again. And from everybody at Rebel Ears, want to tell everybody thank you for listening and watching. Keep tuning in.
Yes, sir.